Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we have another review. I'm actually unboxing this today and then I'll do all of the review stuff and come back to you at the end of the video. But we're going to start off with the unboxing because you guys say you enjoy that sort of thing, so why not? It's like getting a present that you don't have to pay for, or buying something that you don't have to buy in store and keep. I don't know. Anyway, we have the Pagos 36 color watercolor paint set. And this was sent to me by Pagos. I didn't know it was coming, and so it was kind of a nice surprise. I have reviewed their watercolor pencils as well as their traditional colored pencils, and I was very pleased with them. So I'm curious to see how this behaves. So we've got a nice box. Ooh, the box has a nice magnetic closure. And inside, ooh, this is really nicely finished. You guys know how I like a good box. This box could have some potential in reusing. We've got a watercolor pad here. I'm just gonna see what this paper looks like. You never know. Sometimes you get a good one. Sometimes you get a dud. I believe this set is somewhere in the probably $25 to $35 range, somewhere in there. Probably, well, maybe 35. I think it's right around there. Let's see. Oh, actually, that paper looks fairly decent. It doesn't look like a tractor has driven over it. It's textured on both sides. That gives me some hope. All right, I've got good vibes about this paper. You just never know. We've got a sponge, probably for cleaning off our water brush. We've got an eraser. Oh, this feels weird. This is a weird feeling eraser. I was like, is it a kneaded eraser? But then it wouldn't be printed if it was. This is a bizarre feeling eraser. Got a pencil sharpener. I wonder if there's pencils in here. We've got a highlight pen, a gel pen. I don't know what size it is. Let me see. Let me grab a scrap of cardstock that I can scribble it on. You'd think I'd have a scrap of cardstock here. This is going downhill fast, guys. All right, here we go. We're like, what, 2 minutes in and I've already had to leave the table. Ooh, let's see. Oh, that's all right. This is on a really textured paper too. Hey, that's not too bad. It looks like it's probably like a 1 millimeter or a 0.8 millimeter. We've got our water brush here. Standard fair water brush. Ooh, those are some long bristles. Those are some long bristles. Are they straight in there? Yeah, they're straight in there, so not over long. They feel like they might be a little floppy, but we can fill that up and give that a try. It looks like your typical backward screwing water brush. We've got a dual brush pen. Now, what do you bet? What do you bet this isn't waterproof? Here, I got a scrap of. Let's try it. Something tells me that this is probably not a waterproof pen. All right, you know what? We're gonna let that dry, and then we'll revisit this. Okay, we'll revisit it. Man, we'll revisit it with a brush, with a water brush. Let's fill this sucker up. See what we got. This is fun. It kind of this kind of feel like. like Christmas. I got a present. Look at my present, guys. It's like a birthday present, except it's not my birthday. All right, we will let that marker dry. I don't think that's let me smell it. I don't know, guys. I don't think that's a waterproof marker, but we'll see. Okay, we take that layer out, and we do have a pencil. We've got a 2B pencil, which is a little bit softer than a number 2. An HB is what a number 2 pencil is, so this would be a little bit softer, so you could use a really light line and it would be easy to erase. We've got brushes. Ooh, I feel like it doesn't want to go back in there. We've got a number 1 round, a number 6 round, that's a nice size. We've got a 12 flat, which is about a 1/2 inch flat, and oh, we've got this is neat, we've got a filbert. Usually you don't see filberts in these sets. Well, hey, that looks pretty nice. These are golden tack-on brushes. Let's just do a little. I'm gonna plop them in some water though because they got sizing in them, so they'll need to had the sizing removed. Let's take a look here. I prefer regular brushes to water brushes. We'll have to see this filbert shape. I hope it keeps a cat's tongue shape. I love a cat's tongue watercolor brush. Oh, it still has sizing in it though. I can feel the slime. All right, we'll let that soak for a bit. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the actual watercolor palette. Look how nice this box is, though. It's like, I'm like, I'm like a kid. I'm more excited about the box the toy comes in. Look at that box. That's nice. All right, so we got this at the watercolor tin. This is a big tin. So it says 36 colors. And it's got the Pagos logo here. It's a little scuffed. I'm not worried about it. It doesn't seem like that may buff right out. Let's see. Well, maybe not. But, you know, if you've ever had metal tins before, you know they don't stay pristine for too long. They do get scuffed. That's a little wobbly, but I'm not going to hold it against it. Let me smell this. I don't smell anything yet, but sometimes with these paints, they have like a smell once you... No, I don't smell anything. Okay, that's a good sign. Hey, let's see how it activated. Oh, that's not too bad, actually. Well, I'm excited to give these a go. I'm excited to give these a whirl. Okay, let's see. That's not a waterproof pen. Word to the wise, guys. That like disappeared. Oh, well, guys, you know what? You could draw with that fine tip pen and then it will just disappear when you paint over it. I kind of like that, actually. Hey, you know, maybe they're onto something. Well, guys, there's the unboxing. I'm going to swatch these out. I'm going to do some tests with them, probably a painting or two, and then we'll meet you back here and I'll let you know what I think. How about that? Okay? Okay. Okay, I want to talk about my thoughts so far on this set. I finished my swatches and I did a stripe of color on each of them. Some of the colors are opaque, like that aqua and that lavender. That pink's fairly opaque. But overall, the colors look nice and clean. I like this paper. I wet an area and just did a stripe of a color, and there was good spread and flow. Now here I actually compared the Pagos paints there on the right with the Meaden paints on the left, because that's what they reminded me the most of, but these do appear to be a smidgen brighter when I compared the colors that I thought were identical. Once they dried, I realized it seemed like the Pagos were more vibrant. But I would say a very comparable set. And I just did a little kind of sketch of a rose just to see how the colors blended, how they looked, how they flowed, and that's where we are so far. So my thoughts so far on this, which, you know, I'm going to do a real painting before I give my final opinion, is that I think it's pretty well priced. You've got the paint's not beating up on the tin, which is nice. It spreads out pretty well. I might need to adjust this flap because it's very, very wobbly. The brushes are great quality, actually. I'm surprised that let's see, is there 4? Yeah, there's 4 good decent brushes in here. A kind of filbert or cat's tongue, flat, a number 6 round, and a number 1 round. You know, I don't have any complaints yet, so I just thought I would give you this little update, and then the next time I see you, I will have done a actual full painting, not just a doodle, and we'll wrap up with some final thoughts. Actually, one more thing I wanted to mention was this is I put these freshwater out before I began, so this is swatching and everything. I don't know if you can really tell for this, but see, you can see the paint puck in the bottom there. You can see the texture, and you can't on this one. This is the dirty water. This is the clean water. So I would say there's some fillers and optical brighteners because we do have this kind of like milky consistency, or it's very hazy, not very transparent water. So yeah, there's definitely some fillers on there. I can see that on the texture of the pans as well. You get this kind of like when you add, well, I'll show you, when you take a brush and you add water, see how that gets kind of white? You can see the chalk just kind of lift up there. It happens with, I think it probably happens with pretty much every color. See how that gets quite a bit lighter, and I think that's kind of the chalk coming through in the paint. So that might cause some issues. Yeah, even these darker colors, it's showing up kind of like chalky once you do that, and you get this kind of creamy texture on the top, kind of like the Gansai Tambi, but I don't see any glaze. I don't see any sheen at all on the thick layers of paint. So so it's kind of interesting. Could be whatever they're using for a binder, but I thought I would mention that. So you're probably gonna be limited to your amount of glazing before you get lifting and whatnot. But I wanted to share that before we go any further, because I'll probably change my water before I do my final painting. Okay guys, I'm back. We're going to wrap up this review of the Pagos watercolor set of 36, and this is the final artwork that I did. And you know what, I have to say that I like these paints. Now I didn't know what to expect, and I did double check the price. They are $35 currently on Amazon. And you know, when I see a budget watercolor set over $20, I'm kind of putting them against the Pretty Excellent watercolors, because I find that those are kind of the best bang for your buck for a set of 36, and they're routinely 20 bucks or sometimes even less, anywhere between like $17 and $25, and those are kind of the set to beat. Now I will say I think the Pretty Excellent watercolors are more transparent and better quality. However, with all the things that you get with this set and the fact that you've got a tin that you can refill, or you can get like better grade half pans you can add to it, I like this tin better. I think it would suit somebody better. It would keep them for a lot longer. I was first a little worried about the fold-out palette piece here, because it felt a little kind of loose and wobbly, but I don't think that's really that big of an issue. I think I could probably even bend that wire in there if I wanted this to sit out flat, but it wasn't an issue for mixing. I didn't have beading issues. I left the palette dirty just so you could see. I didn't have issues with the paints beading up on it. The colors mixed pretty well. I did have to go into the black to get my darks, where I usually use ultramarine and either burnt sienna or burnt umber, but the ultramarine is weak. That would be my biggest criticism of this palette. So if you're purchasing this palette, I would highly recommend that you pick up a spare ultramarine blue. Sorry to put that off. Let's just zoom out a little bit. I would grab a spare ultramarine blue, or maybe even just get a pack of half pans and fill it with some tube paints if you want, because you will really find, I don't know, I use ultramarine blue more than any other color. That's when I always have to refill in my palette. So getting a tube of a good quality ultramarine blue would really suit you well. But otherwise, I find this to be a pretty well balanced palette. I love all three of the browns here. Even this one is a little more reddish, which generally you're like Indian reds or English reds or light reds tend to be about this color, but they tend to be kind of chalky and opaque, just kind of gritty because they come from iron oxide, which I assume these three do as well. But this is a nice transparent red. It's almost like transparent brown from, it reminds me of transparent brown from Core, honestly. And then these two, that's probably a burnt sienna, that's probably a burnt umber. These three browns are fantastic. The black mixed quite well. I was quite happy that I didn't get kind of a sludgy, muddy mess there. And I like the colors. I didn't really get into using the purples too much. I didn't, you know, other than swatching, I haven't really used those purples. I don't tend to use purple a lot in my work, but it's nice to have it if you like to paint florals, which I do. I just didn't today because I've been painting a lot of flowers lately, and I figured people were probably getting sick of it. Nice, nice phthalo blues. This indigo throne blue color there is real nice. Yeah, I like it. I feel like it's a nice selection of green. Didn't go overboard with the green. That turquoisey blue is beautiful, and I really don't have any qualms with this set. No, it's not the best quality paint that you're ever going to see, but I think for somebody getting started for $35 to be able to get a good set of paints, a nice pad of paper. I mean, I did this painting here right on the pad of paper that came with it. It's probably cellulose, but it responds really well. I think you could probably, you can use either side. I actually did some testing on the back side of this one just to see, because I'm like, that's meh, I do these doodles all the time. Just to test, yeah, the backside size 2, so you can use both sides if you're new and you're practicing and you just want to get the most bang for your buck. Now, these remind me the most of the Meeden watercolors, which I have here, the Meeden set of 48, which I think is $30, or at the time that I got these, they were $30 for the set of 48. And these, by the way, all of these products I'm showing you today were sent to me from various companies wanting me to review their products. So let's just get that right out there. I'm not sure if I think I did mention that at the beginning of the video, but I like to be clear on that. And I will have links in the video description, which are affiliate links. So if you do purchase something through those links, I will receive a small commission. Please don't feel obligated to do that. I just want to be honest with you. So this was the Meeden set. I'll just compare. I did find the paints look and feel a lot like the Meeden paints. There is a comparison. I didn't used to do the glazes on the swatch chart, but you know, if you just want to see a comparison, they have some more blues. You know, they don't have a great strong ultramarine blue either. So it wouldn't surprise me if these paints might actually come from the same factory. Yeah, there's no real good ultramarine blue there, which is interesting because I find ultramarine blue to be like the most useful color. It just mixes with so many things so well. It's got a beautiful granulation. It's not a terribly expensive pigment. It's usually series 1, which means it's one of the cheaper paints to buy if you want to go buy a tube of M. Graham or Da Vinci or Daniel Smith or Winsor & Newton. That ultramarine blue is going to be one of your cheaper colors. So I'm not sure why some of these budget sets don't provide a good ultramarine blue, but that's a comparison of those two because I find that set to be quite similar. There's no smell, by the way. That was another thing I checked. I was sniffing the paint hard because I'm like, is this the same as the Master's Touch or the Doodle Hog set of 48? It doesn't seem to be. It's not like the Doodle Hog set of 36 either. It's definitely like the Meeden or Arteza. I did note these did feel a lot like the Arteza ones, but they did seem to be a little stronger, better tinting strength. The Arteza, that middle row is their tubes. Their pan set, they didn't have a decent ultramarine. That was the closest thing they had to a decent ultramarine. So disregard that row. That was their 12 tube set. So it would not surprise me if these paints are very similar, if not the same manufacturing, you know, thing out of China. Oh, let me just grab my box. I'm like 99% sure this is made in China, but I'm just gonna double check on the box. I don't see it. That's weird. Doesn't print it on the inside that it's made in China. Huh. Well, I don't see where that paint is made, but I would guess it's made in China. I wish that actually when you order online it would tell you where things are made, but they don't. But anyway, I think the color strength is good. You are going to probably get a little chalkiness. Like I can see the sediment in some of these colors. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let me zoom in. Let me set this down and zoom in. I think the cat came out real cute. These were fun to use. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any things lifting up where I didn't want it. I went over with some white areas just to kind of give that cool white glow on the cat, and I used a gel pen. But other than, you know, I wanted the white to be white. It's not very opaque. The white is not opaque. If you want an opaque white, use a gel pen. But I just wanted to use stuff that was in the kit. I think it came out real cute. But let me zoom in here. Just, I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. These are pretty small swatches. But you can see a little bit of texture in these paints, especially the ultramarine blue. The reds are really nice. I think for floral painters, those would be really fun. You can see they're quite transparent, actually. I had the most issues with any haziness on actually that peach. I use the peach a lot in the cat. It's like a Joan Brilliant, and it didn't give me any issues. It's a pastel color. It's gonna have some sediment, but ultramarine. You can even see some texture in here. That's a texture of lithopone probably, which is a filler they use to extend paints to keep them a little bit more budget friendly. And that gray, I don't know when I would use that gray. I'd probably use it for mixing if I needed to do like a stormy sky and I just needed to slow down the flow of my paint, or I wanted some texture in the paint. I could use some of that gray and get a little bit of a grittiness, add some ultramarine blue and some of the gray and one of the browns and some of the black, and I could kind of push that kind of faux granulation. I say faux granulation because it'd be more fillers and extenders that are giving me the grit and not actual pigments, but it would give me the look. Now, I would not expect these to be light fast because they are a budget paint. And so I was just kind of trying to figure out the value of this. Would I recommend it? I would say I would recommend it to parents wanting to buy their children a paint set that will give them everything they need to go to get started with painting. The brushes are very nice. You are going to be able to use the brushes after the paints are used up. Or if you decide that you've graduated from these paints. I'm missing a brush. I've got a nice big round brush that's really, that's really good. What do I do with that? Oh, it's right over here. The brushes are great. Even the big one gets a nice razor sharp point. I'm just going to flip that over so you can see the tips there. Love the cat's tongue. I painted most of the painting. If this probably won't be up by the time I do the review, maybe it will. But I'm going to post it. So if it's not up yet on my YouTube channel, it will go up. I think this is a real fun, honestly, I didn't even know what I wanted to paint. I went over to Unsplash and I just started typing letters into the search bar to see what would auto-populate, and cat came up, so I clicked on that and I'm like, okay, I'll do a cat, why not? So I just kind of let Unsplash choose my picture. But yeah, I painted most of it with this cat's tongue brush, and I really like this brush. The brushes are fantastic. So you've got 4 good brushes. So I would say that probably that could cost anywhere from $10 to $20 for this quality brush, I would say. So let's say 10. An empty palette with 36 pans would probably be about $15 to $18. And then, you know, you got a pencil. What's that, $1? Got a marker. Remember, this is not waterproof, so if you want to put some details after you're done, or if you want to do a sketch with this, knowing that you're going to wash away the ink, kind of like we used to do with Elegant Writers, that might be a lot of fun. They also have a set of the brush pens, and they've got a set of sketching pencils, so I think they're trying to wrap a lot of their other products up in this to kind of give you a taste of those other products in case you want to invest in some of those. You've got a Waterbrush. I mean, Waterbrush is, let's say something that's kind of generic, maybe like, you know, $5. A gel pen, that's usually about $3. So let's see, I didn't count in my head. So let's say that's, let's push the price down a little bit. Let's say the tin costs $15. 20, 25, 30, 40, and that's without the paint. So yeah, it's a good value. You can definitely get some painting done with this. If you already have watercolors, unless you're buying it for the tin, the brushes, and the accessories, I don't think you're necessarily going to love these paints if you already have paints that you like. These are an entry-level paint. But you got a kid in middle school who's interested in starting painting, and you just want to give them something that they can get going. Oh, and the paper, I didn't even factor the paper in. So, you know, I don't know, maybe another $5 for the paper, assuming it's cellulose for the 5x7 or probably 6x8 pad. Well, geez, I have a measuring thing on my table. It is 7 by 9. Look, I cannot estimate size. Yeah, so I'd say you probably got like, you know, $45 or $50 worth of stuff. Oh yeah, it's an eraser and a pencil sharpener too. And the eraser did work. I used that too. I did not use a pencil sharpener, but it's a pencil sharpener. It's probably fine. I did use the pencil. That was fine. Nice and smooth. Yeah, I think it's a great value. I don't know if the price will stay at $35, but I think if you're getting it under 40, it's a good deal. And if you decide that you use these paints for a while and you want to upgrade, you can pry the paint out, reuse the half pans, or you can add 12 other colors. Maybe you realize that I want a better ultramarine blue. I'm using that all the time. I want to upgrade. Buy a pan of ultramarine blue, pop it in there. You can add 12 things to it. And I always think it's kind of a nice idea if you're on a budget, if you start with a decent but lower grade paint set and buy a tube of better paint when you use up a color, and then just refill from that better tube of paint, because then you're only going to be buying the good paint and the colors you actually use. The colors you use once in a while, you probably don't need to go buy the really expensive paint. And I would say this is a set for learning. The colors are probably going to fade on you. They're inexpensive paints, so I don't want to oversell it, but it's a good set. It's got good quality materials. It's definitely worth $35. Hey, I was kind of ready to cringe at this paint. I didn't know what I was in for, but I'm very pleasantly surprised. But if you're serious, get a decent ultramarine blue. I think that's the only thing in this set that would hinder you, I think, in your painting. You know what? We didn't try out the Waterbrush. Let's give that a whirl though before I don't think we did we? My gosh, when we started this, I don't even remember. Let's give it a whirl though, just to see how it does. Because it's got pretty long bristles. That might be a little bit tricky. They almost seem like they're overextended, but they don't bump the end of the cap, so maybe they're fine. Let's grab a beautiful bright color. Yeah, let's stain this Waterbrush right off the bat, Lindsay. And let's just... It's a little bit more difficult to control. What I would recommend if you're buying this for your kid or for your teenager, or maybe your parent, maybe if you've got a parent that wants to learn, I probably would not recommend them using the Waterbrush. Use the real brushes. It's almost always better to use real brushes in a couple jars of water than it is to use a Waterbrush. But let's just wet a little area here. Let's pick up a little bit of pink. The Waterbrush, to be honest, I think the bristles are a little bit too long in mine. Not to say that yours will be, because I could have just got a weirdo brush from the factory, but the bristles are a little long. And I don't know, I use water brushes when I travel sometimes, but to be honest, I don't think I would recommend this water brush. And honestly, I don't travel with a palette that big. I think that's a little cumbersome. But and the bristles stain, obviously, it's a white brush. They always do. I think the bristles are a little too long for this to be super useful. But that's just me. That's my opinion. It's fine. I mean, I'm not a big fan of water brushes, as you may know. it's okay. It's your typical economy water brush. But you could also store your brushes in here. You could store a pencil if you want to, if you don't want to keep the big box around, or keep that nice box. You could even fit a larger pad of paper in there if you want to, if you wanted to store more things. I think it's a great gift idea, or somebody beginning. If you're a card maker, you want to get into watercolors for your card making, or your scrapbooking, or you want to do some sketchbook with it, work with it, I would say there's no problem. Just don't expect these not to fade if hung in direct sunlight. You could do your own light fastness testing if you would like to see how fugitive the colors are, but I can tell you right off the bat. Where's my swatch? I can tell you right off the bat, you're going to have some issues with these guys. They're going to fade. That's going to fade. That's probably going to fade. I'm saying that's probably going to fade. The greens will probably do something weird. I don't know. I'm guessing something's going to fade. Your yellows, some of your yellows are probably like PY1 or something. That might be a PY1, which is going to fade. But for learning, for fun, I don't see any issues with this set. And the stuff doesn't beat up. The paint doesn't beat up. So I was predisposed to think this was going to be junk, but I'm pleasantly surprised. So again, another win for Pagos. I like their pencils, and I was kind of like thinking like, oh, and their colored pencils were, I enjoyed them. So I would say if you're buying this is April 5th when I'm recording this. I'm sorry, May 5th. Oh, because yesterday was the Star Wars day. It's May 5th the day I'm recording this. Sometimes manufacturers change suppliers and whatnot, so I always say if you're going to Amazon to buy something, look at the most recent reviews, because sometimes if a product's been around for a couple of years, a factory closes down or they change formulas or whatnot, a lot of times the sellers don't even know. So you look at those most recent reviews and you see what they say. That's what I always recommend, especially if you're watching one of these reviews far in the future, because you just, you know, that way you're hopefully likely to get a more accurate review. But as they stand right now, I recommend them. I think they're great value. So I hope you found this helpful, and keep an eye out for that tutorial on my channel. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!